Wizard Bane's core rulebook has been updated. Those of you who've purchased the game, you can go to the website and re-download the core rulebook. Now, I mentioned a few days ago in a video I was going to be adding some more spells. I haven't done that yet. So the spells I'm going to be adding are summoning spells, but it's based on the environment you're in. So if you have to be near a wooded hex, then you can summon a tree monster, or you have to be near a mountain, then you can summon a rock golem, rock monster, and the same thing for water. If you have to be near water, and then you can summon a water serpent, can squish your enemies. They'll be on the game map for a certain number of turns. So those are the spells I'm going to be adding. Here's a table of contents. You have races, lore, factions, and I'm working on adding more races as well. Character creation, inventory, fatigue points. So fatigue points in Wizard Bane, based on your character stats when you create your character, determines how many fatigue points you have. So you can block attacks that will use a fatigue point. There are certain actions you can do which will use a fatigue point. When you're out of fatigue points, you're unconscious. You can also rest to gain fatigue points, and there are magic spells which can take away or restore fatigue points. So you can cast a spell at an enemy character and just drain their fatigue points, and then they're laying down on the battlefield until they regain fatigue points from resting, or one of your other characters goes over there and runs them through. Combat, blocking ranged attacks, rules for that, ranged weapons, bows, crossbows, throwing weapons, dual wielding weapons, calculating damage for all of that, magic, spell range, damage multiplier. In Wizard Bane, there is, when you create a character, there's a character attribute that governs magic. The higher your character has with that attribute, the more powerful their spells will be. So with this attribute that governs magic, you attack another character, okay? And your character value is less than the character you're attacking value. So in that case, you can still damage them, but because the attribute that governs magic is higher with the target than with your character is going to do less damage than they would otherwise do. If you create a warrior character and you're like, well, I'm not going to use magic, so you don't assign really any points to that attribute that governs magic, that's fine. But if you get hit with a magic spell, the damage is going to be catastrophically higher than normal. You can create a warrior character that doesn't use magic but has a high value of the attribute that governs magic. That would just make it so if you get hit with a magic spell, it won't do very much damage if their attribute that governs magic is less than your value. Damage location tables, critical hits, so you can get damage throughout the game, like you're not dead, but you can get broken arms, temporarily blinded.
I used to be an adventurer like you. Then I took an arrow in the knee.
Sprained ankles, things like that will affect your ability to move, to target, and to hit. Okay, vampires, certain other characters into vampires. Vampires in Wizard Bane, they work different from what you may be used to. I took a creative license, created my own type of vampires. When you're a vampire, you are going to lose health at a small but constant rate. So you need to feed. And the way it works in Wizard Bane, if you turn another character into a vampire, and you're their master vampire, because vampires lose health, they're undead, slow but constant rate, then part of the health they lose for being a vampire is transferred to you, because you're their master vampire. And if you have a master vampire, when you lose health at a slow constant rate, part of that health is transferred to your master vampire. So that's how that works. So in the game of Wizard Bane, if you can turn a lot of characters into vampires, you can actually have a very powerful health. This way is how vampires can exceed their character's HP through this. Also, just because you turn another character into a vampire does not, you're their master vampire, but that doesn't mean they're now going to follow you or that you control them. It is possible they could follow you, but not necessarily. So it depends. So leveling up, talked about leveling up, gaining XP. So there's something called feats or actions which you do during the game, and it's spelled out on page 29 of the book, that grants you experience points. And so it lists feats, actions you can do during gameplay, which will grant you experience. But you have to survive the game session to actually gain the experience points. If you die during the game session, you lose all the experience. Then it lists the traits you can choose when you level up. Standard weapons table. So Wizard Bane has a plethora of standard weapons, which are readily available throughout the world of Wizard Bane, and then it comes with a advanced equipment deck, a card deck, that simulates rarity in Wizard Bane. Magic items or equipment that is rare. And when you divvy that cards up during the game, once those cards are divvied up, they're used. And I am going to be coming out with more card packs of advanced weapons or advanced equipment, enchanted weapons, things like that. We have the spells, page 33 to 35 details the spells, and I have changed how healing is done. So healing will now be easier or more difficult depending on your attribute which governs magic, if it's higher or lower than the character you're trying to heal. Okay, then we have advanced optional rules. For instance, advanced optional rules, you can have their power attacks, do power attacks, how to do flanking, various other, including inspiring characters that are by you based on if you have a certain character attribute that's higher than theirs. You can actually inspire characters that you are next to and increase their values or targeting values, things like that, based on certain factors. So those advanced optional rules you can play with. Standard equipment's listed here, renown equipment values. So renown in the game is every character starts out with, when you create a new character, you start out with a certain amount of renown. And this determines the type of equipment you can use in a gameplay session, that your character can use in a gameplay session. So all the equipment, even the advanced equipment magical items, have a renown value. And when you level up your character, you can choose to assign traits, or you can choose also to upgrade your renown value. So when characters start out in Wizard Bane, you will most likely not be able to, like if you have a warrior, equip your warrior with a sword, a shield, and cover your warrior with armor. That's not going to happen. You don't have enough renown for that. You have to level up a few times before you can actually provide a full set of sword, a shield, and a full set of armor for your warrior character. And you cannot equip more items than your renown value allow. Also, your inventory is based on, like in Dungeons & Dragons, it's called strength. It's a different term, but same thing in Wizard Bane. So the amount of items you can equip will be also limited on your renown, but also your strength, character strength value. But I don't use strength in Wizard Bane. It's a different term, but means the same thing. And then equipment abilities. There are some equipment that have certain abilities. For instance, a short sword is quick, so it can increases your chances of hitting a little bit when you're swinging a short sword versus regular size sword, things like that. And it has Wizard Bane character sheet you can print out, and then Wizard Bane dice rolls sheet, like a cheat sheet for all the dice rolls in the game. Thank you for watching this video. Make games, play games, and have fun.